गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः चिन्मयं व्याप्य यत्सर्वं त्रैलोक्यं सचराचरम् तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव वेद्याद्रविणम् त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव जय गुरु ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः Aditi, are you online?
Yes, I am.
Welcome, welcome. So where are we in our text?
We're starting in chapter 28.
Will you help us out, please?
Yes. All suffering is born of desire. All suffering is born of desire. True love is never frustrated. How can the sense of unity be frustrated? What can be frustrated is the desire for expression. Such desire is of the mind. As with all things mental, frustration is inevitable. Questioner: I come from a far-off country. I had some inner experiences of my own, and I would like to compare notes. Maharaj: by all means. Do you know yourself? Questioner: I know that I am not the body, nor am I the mind. Maharaj: what makes you say so? Questioner: I do not feel I am in the body. I seem to be all over the place, everywhere. As to the mind, I can switch it on and off, so to speak. This makes me feel I am not the mind. Maharaj: when you feel yourself everywhere in the world, do you remain separate from the world, or are you the world? Questioner: both. Sometimes I feel myself to be neither mind nor body, but one single all-seeing I. When I go deeper into it, I find myself to be all I see, and the world and myself become one. Maharaj: very well. What about desires? Do you have any? Questioner: yes, they come, short and superficial. Maharaj: and what do you do about them? Questioner: what can I do? They come, they go. I look at them. Sometimes I see my body and my mind engaged in fulfilling them. Questioner: whose desires are being fulfilled? Maharaj, whose desires are being fulfilled? Questioner: they are a part of the world in which I live. They are there, just as trees and clouds are. Maharaj: are they not a sign of some imperfection? Questioner: why should they be? They are as they are, and I am as I am. How can the appearance and disappearance of desires affect me? Of course, they affect the shape and content of the mind. Maharaj: very well. What is your work? Questioner. I'm a probation officer. Maharaj. What does it mean? Questioner. Juvenile offenders are let off on probation, and there are special officers to watch their behavior and to help them get training and find work. Maharaj. Must you work? Questioner. Who works? Work happens to take place. Maharaj. Do you need to work? Questioner. I need it for the sake of money. I like it because it puts me in touch with living beings. Maharaj. What do you need them for? Questioner. They may need me, and it is their destinies that made me take up this work. It is one life, after all. Maharaj. How did you come to your present state? Questioner. Sri Ramana Maharshi's teachings have put me on my way. Then I met one Douglas Harding, who helped me by showing me how to work on the Who Am I? Maharaj. Was it sudden or gradual? Questioner. It was quite sudden, like something quite forgotten coming back into one's mind.
Hmm.
Like a sudden flash of understanding. How simple, I said. How simple. I'm not what I thought I am. I'm neither the perceived nor the perceiver. I am the perceiving only. Maharaj. Not even the perceiving, but that which makes all this possible. Questioner. What is love? Maharaj. When the sense of distinction and separation is absent, you may call it love. Questioner. Why so much stress on love between man and woman? Maharaj. Because the element of happiness in it is so prominent. Questioner. Is it not so in all love? Maharaj. Not necessarily. Love may cause pain. You then call it compassion. Questioner. What is happiness? Maharaj. Harmony between the inner and the outer is happiness. On the other hand, self-identification with the outer is suffering. Questioner. How does self-identification happen? Maharaj. The self by its nature knows itself only. For lack of experience, whatever it perceives, it takes to be itself. Battered, it learns to look out, vivek, and to live alone, vairagya. When right behavior, uparati, becomes normal, a powerful inner urge, mumukshutva, makes it seek its source. The candle of the body is lighted and all becomes clear and bright, atma prakash. Questioner. What is the real cause of suffering? Maharaj. Self-identification with the limited, vyaktitva. Sensations as such, however strong, do not cause suffering. It is the mind, bewildered by wrong ideas, addicted to thinking, I am this, I am that fears loss and craves gain and suffers when frustrated. Questioner. A friend of mine used to have horrible dreams night after night. Going to sleep would terrorize him. Nothing could help him. Maharaj. Company of the truly good, satsang, would help him.
Hmm.
Questioner. Life itself is a nightmare. Maharaj. Noble friendship, satsang, is the supreme remedy for all ills, physical and mental. Questioner. Generally, one cannot find such friendship. Maharaj. Seek within. Your own self is your best friend. Questioner. Why is life so full of contradictions? Maharaj. It serves to break down mental pride. We must realize how poor and powerless we are. As long as we delude ourselves by what we imagine ourselves to be, to know, to have, to do, we are in a sad plight indeed. Only in Only in complete self-negation is there a chance to discover our real being. Questioner: why so much stress on self-negation? Maharaj: as much as on self-realization. The false self must be abandoned before the real self can be found. Questioner: the self you choose to call false is to me most distressingly real. It is the only self I know. What you call the real self is a mere concept, a way of speaking, a creature of the mind, an attractive ghost. My true self is not a beauty, I admit, but it is my own and only self. You say I am or have another self. Do you see it? Is it a reality to you, or do you want me to believe what you yourself don't see? Maharaj: don't jump to conclusions rashly. The concrete need not be the real. The conceived need not be false. Perceptions based on sensations and shaped by memory imply a perceiver whose nature you never cared to examine. Give it your full attention. Examine it with loving care, and you will discover heights and depths of being which you did not dream of, engrossed as you are in your puny image of yourself. Maharaj: questioner: I must be in the right mood to examine myself fruitfully. Maharaj: you must be serious, intent, truly interested. You must be full of goodwill for yourself. Question: I am selfish, all right. Maharaj: you are not. You are all the time destroying yourself and your own by serving strange gods, inimical and false. By all means be selfish, the right way. Wish yourself well. Labor at what is good for you. Destroy all that stands between you and happiness. Be all, love all, be happy, make happy. No happiness is greater. Questioner: why is there so much suffering in love? Maharaj: all suffering is born of desire. True love is never frustrated. How can the sense of unity be frustrated? What can be frustrated is the desire for expression. Such desire is of the mind. As with all things mental, frustration is inevitable.
So let me pause there. This is so rich. I've had nothing to add to it. But the idea of what we call love, English falls short. Other languages have richer expressions. I'm fond of the Greek. So there's at least 3 words: agape or agape, philios, and eros. Eros is the love that we feel for another person when we're sexually and romantically attracted to them. Philios literally means good friendship. Agape or agape is the love that seeks nothing in return. So normally when we think of love, we want something from the other person. I can remember talking to a student who was convinced they were in love with someone, and they said, I know it's true love because it hurts so bad. And my response is, love never hurts. Attachment, unfulfilled desire is what hurts. So if we need a definition, it's truly wishing the well-being of another, with no thought of return from Fame. Going on.
Questioner, what is the place of sex in love? Maharaj, love is a state of being. Sex is energy. Love is wise. Sex is blind. Once the true nature of love and sex is understood, there will be no conflict or confusion. Questioner, there is so much sex without love. Maharaj, without love, all is evil. Life itself without love is evil. Questioner, who can make me love? Maharaj, you are love itself when you are not afraid. That's the end of the chapter.
It's a very rich chapter. It's so complete. I don't have a lot to add to it. Does anybody else have thoughts on it or questions?
Can you elaborate a little bit on that last line, like the when you are not afraid part?
Well, my thoughts are when we want stuff, attention, approval, sex, security, stuff like that, and we're afraid we're not going to get it from that person or persons, then it puts the brakes on. Then what might be love is then added to or replaced by need or manipulation, grasping, control, all sorts of other things. And what I would say with Maharaj, just kind of shifting a little bit, sometimes true love and grasping can exist at the same time. The grasping usually occludes or obscures the love when it's intense. But Swamiji used to make the decision between love and lust. He said most people speak love with their lips but have lust in their hearts. Lust for him was defined as wanting something from the other person. I don't know if that's useful,
Yes.
Aditi.
Yes, very much. Thank you.
And by Swamiji's definition, it doesn't confine itself to sex, just when he said lust. He defined lust as wanting something from another. All right, well, let's go on to the next chapter.
Chapter 29. Living is life's only purpose. To be always on the move, learning, discovering, unfolding is your eternal destiny. Living is life's only purpose. Questioner, what does it mean to fail in yoga? Who is a failure in yoga? Yoga Prasht. Maharaj, it is only a question of incompletion. He who could not complete his yoga for some reason is called a failed yogi. Such failure is only temporary, for there can be no defeat in yoga.
Okay, let's stop there. This is a wonderful notion. The question I would frame is, what is the dharma of a human being? Scriptures say it is God consciousness. It is self-realization. We look at that from two viewpoints. The first is, what is the actual nature of the self, without which it would not be what it is? The self is self-evident. The self always knows itself. How do you know you are you? You do not see, hear, taste, touch, smell, emote, or think yourself, yet you know you are. That's your swabha. But the other way of looking at it, the dharma of something can also be a movement through time and space. And the classic example is of a river, which flows from a higher elevation to a lower elevation. If it isn't flowing, it's not a river. It's a pool or a lake or an ocean. So also, the human mind is moving in a direction, impelled by desire. It is always seeking the good and avoiding suffering. That's its nature. And it moves us, it impels us from experience to experience to experience, always seeking the good. The only doubt is what is good. And through many, many lifetimes, we experiment only to find that every external situation or person, it may work for a while, but it's at best temporary and most of the time so finite that it doesn't really satisfy the human heart. Until eventually the mind starts to turn towards the self. We begin Atma Vichara, investigation into our own self nature. Because unlike the things of the world, yourself is real. Now, so you develop some mumukshutva, some desire for freedom, and it's caused by some tragedy in your life. A partner dies, you lose a child, or you may have a brief encounter with a Mahatma. You start your yoga, but you don't have yoga balam. You don't have the power, the strength of yoga. You don't have fortitude. So you give it up and return to the world. No blame. In Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna says, what happens if you don't attain moksha in this lifetime? And Krishna says, don't worry. You can't take your money with you. You can't take your possessions with you. You can't take your loved ones with you. You certainly can't take your body with you. But you do take your yoga with you. And that person is then born again into an auspicious familial environment. And they take up where they left off and continue. And this may take lifetimes. So, as Maharaj says, there's no real failure in yoga. We just take time out. Because the mind is always seeking the good. It never stops doing that. And only God satisfies the human heart in the end. Any thoughts on this? Krishna says, my devotee is never lost. You cannot fail. This is why I like the physical metaphor of the labyrinth. What's the difference between a labyrinth and a maze? Who knows?
You can't get lost in a labyrinth.
Exactly. A maze has dead ends, you can get lost, stuff like that. But in a labyrinth, they look very similar. There's twists and turns and changes of directions. But if you just keep going, you always go to the center. Turn around and come out. And what's so interesting is if you walk a maze with a friend and you start several minutes after the other person, there will be times when you'll be moving in the opposite direction. There'll be times where you'll be on one side and your friend will be way over on the other side. And it seems like one of you is doing it wrong. So you and I go through the various twists and turns of the experiences of life. But don't worry. We're all going home. Nobody fails. Any thoughts on this? You mean Hitler and Saddam Hussein, they're all yogis on their way home to God? Yes. Oh, Mother Teresa, she was so holy. You know, is she further along the path? We don't know. She's now gone. She may come back as an obnoxious schoolyard bully. Whatever it is a person needs to finish and complete will be done. Vedanta is the most compassionate of all religions. No one is eternally damned. All are in the merciful embrace of the infinite. Any thoughts on this? What's the driver? Desire on one hand, and also the response to our suffering. I extrovert into the world until it beats me into reasonableness. Going on.
There can be no defeat in yoga. This battle is always won, for it is a battle between the true and the false. The false has no chance. Questioner. Who fails? The person, Vyakti, or the self, Vyakta? Maharaj. The question is wrongly put. There is no question of failure, neither in the short run nor in the long. It is like traveling a long and arduous road in an unknown country. Of all the innumerable steps, there is only the last which brings you to your destination. Yet, you would not consider all previous steps as failures. Each brought you nearer to your goal, even when you had to turn back to bypass an obstacle.
Let me give you a real live worldly example. So, in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, there's a section that deals with the question, am I an alcoholic? Or you're working with another person. What if they don't know they're a real alcoholic? So the big book's definition is someone who's lost the ability to control their drinking. Once they start to drink, they're out of control. And so the suggestion is tell your newcomer to try some controlled drinking, keeping in mind what we've said. Go to the nearest bar, have 2 drinks, try to stop abruptly. Try it more than once. And then it says it's worth a case of the shakes to get a true understanding of our condition.
Mm.
So this is what we do. Yeah, I believe in yoga, but what about drugs, sex, and rock and roll? Go for it. And we always know that the lessons learned viscerally through direct experience are the most meaningful. It's the difference between paroksha jnanam, indirect knowledge, aparoksha jnanam, direct experience. But it's only really efficacious for us in the end if we're aware enough to see what's going on. Now, I think everybody who's online today is married or partnered. How successful have you been in fixing and changing your partner? Anybody there been able to do it? Deathly silence. But I bet every single one of us tried. And then through frustration and suffering and compassion, we learn tolerance. We learn acceptance. We learn compassion. Which was the real lesson. We may have heard that when we were courting, but we didn't believe it. But we normally unconsciously think, oh, this is the perfect one for me. I can't wait till I fix them. But it doesn't happen that way. So once we face the reality of the condition, then solutions become clear. But we're incredibly open to delusion. 12-step programs have a definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. How many of us do that? All right, going on.
In reality, each step brings you to your goal because to be always on the move, learning, discovering, unfolding is your eternal identity. Living is life's only purpose. The self does not identify itself with success or failure. The very idea of becoming this or that is unthinkable. The self understands that success and failure are relative and related, that they are the very fabric of life. Learn from both and go on, or go beyond. If you have not learned, repeat. Questioner, what am I?
So let me stop a minute. So I'm working with a person who's in what he perceives as a really toxic living situation. And the his doubt is, do I stay and try to work it out, or do I withdraw from this and find another living situation? And my advice to them is, in the end, it doesn't matter. If you've seen the toxicity and isn't right for you, move on. And if in fact there are personality uh, defects that are in you that are primarily the cause, don't worry. The opportunity to work through them will come back again. We don't have to worry. We get an opportunity to do this over and over and over again until it always boils down to something so simple. Let go and keep your heart open. Going on.
Questioner, what am I to learn? Maharaj, to live without self-concern. For this, you must know your own true being, Swarup, as indomitable, fearless, ever victorious. Once you know with absolute certainty that nothing can trouble you but your own imagination, you come to disregard your desires and fears, and concepts and ideas, and live by truth alone.
So I give people little slogans that I think are useful. Nobody has the power to make me feel anything. What other people think of me is none of my business, but what I think of them is none of their business. It's a spiritual axiom that if I'm disturbed, no matter the cause, I'm the one with the klesha, with the defilement, with the defect, the dosha. There's so many of them, but these are ways of being able to see that any apparent problem is nothing but my imagination. What is the Shakespeare quote? Nothing is either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. I think that's Shakespeare. Going on.
Questioner, what may be the reason that some people succeed and others fail in yoga? Is it destiny or character or just accident? Maharaj, nobody ever fails in yoga. It is all a matter of the rate of progress. It is slow in the beginning and rapid in the end. When one is fully mature, realization is explosive. It takes place spontaneously or at the slightest hint. The quick is not better than the slow. Slow ripening and rapid flowering alternate. Both are natural and right. Yet, all this is so in the mind only. As I see it, there is really nothing of the kind. In the great mirror of consciousness, images arise and disappear, and only memory gives them continuity. And memory is material, destructible, perishable, transient. On such flimsy foundation, we build a sense of personal existence, vague, intermittent, dreamlike. This vague persuasion, I am so and so, obscures the changeless state of pure awareness and makes us believe that we are born to suffer and to die. Questioner, just as a child cannot help growing, so does a man compelled by nature make progress. Why exert oneself? Where is the need of yoga? Maharaj, there is progress all the time. Everything contributes to progress. But this is the progress of ignorance. The circles of ignorance may be ever widening, yet it remains a bondage all the time, all the same. In due course, a guru appears to teach and inspire us to practice yoga, and a ripening takes place, as a result of which the immemorial night of ignorance dissolves before the rising sun of wisdom. But in reality, nothing happened. The sun is always there, there is no night to it. The mind, blinded by the I am the body idea, spins out endlessly its thread of illusion. Questioner: if all is part of a natural process, where is the need for effort? Maharaj: even effort is a part of it. When ignorance becomes obstinate and hard, and the character gets perverted, effort and the pain of it become inevitable. In complete obedience to nature, there is no effort. The seed of spiritual life grows in silence and in darkness until its appointed hour. Questioner: we come across some great people who, in their old age, become childish, petty, quarrelsome, and spiteful. How could they deteriorate so much? Maharaj: they were not perfect yogis, having their bodies under complete control. Or they might not have cared to protect their bodies from the natural decay. One must not draw conclusions without understanding all the factors. Above all, one must not make judgments of inferiority or superiority. Youthfulness is more a matter of vitality, pran, than of wisdom, gyan. Questioner: one may get old, but why should one lose all alertness and discrimination? Maharaj: consciousness and unconsciousness, while in the body, depend on the condition of the brain, but the self is beyond both, beyond the brain, beyond the mind. The fault of the instrument is no reflection on its user. Questioner: I was told that a realized man will never do anything unseemly. He will always behave in an exemplary way. Maharaj: who sets the example? Why should a liberated man necessarily follow conventions? The moment he becomes predictable, he cannot be free. His freedom lies in his being free to fulfill the need of the moment, to obey the necessity of the situation. Freedom to do what one likes is really bondage, while being free to do what one must, what is right, is real freedom.
So let's stop there. Many people, New Agey spiritual people, confuse being blown about by the wind of the tyranny of raga and dvesha as living spontaneously in the spirit. They are not the same. The first is tyrannized by raga and dvesha. I can only do what I want. I will never do what I don't want. In the moment a desire arises, I've lately begun to call it the inner 2-year-old. I want ice cream. I don't want to eat my broccoli. But that's license, that's not liberty. Real liberty comes when we've silenced those voices through insight and mature dispassion. Then a deeper part of the mind, the intuition, can begin to operate. So the deep yogi, the phrase I like to use, is out of control. They have no idea what they're going to do from moment to moment, and they don't care. But there's complete detachment from the outcome, the karma phala of events. And there's deep peace, no matter. Any thoughts on this? Going on.
Questioner: still, there must be some way of making out who has realized and who has not. If one is indistinguishable from the other, of what use is he? Maharaj: He who knows himself has no doubts about it, nor does he care whether others recognize his state or not. Rare is the realized man who discloses his realization, and fortunate are those who have met him, for he does it for their abiding welfare.
Yes. So be very cautious about someone who has his enlightenment or self-realization on his business card or website or on LinkedIn. Anybody who thinks they are a realized person is just another form of fool. Only two kinds of people in the world: those who think they're a person, be it a miserable worm, or if you think you know something significant. Then there are those rare souls who know they're not a person. They know they are brother. They know the body, mind, intellect. It's just that. Another piece in the divine Leela. Very important point. And from the standpoint of us students, we do not have the tools to be able to know if someone is a jnani or not. The scriptures say one person of realization can recognize another. I'm not going to go into that. But if in your interaction with someone, you come out of it with a firmer knowledge of your own essential nature, then it's been of value. And that's always the test. Next, going on.
Questioner. When one looks around, one is appalled by the volume of unnecessary suffering that is going on. People who should be helped are not getting help. Imagine a big hospital ward full of incurables, tossing and moaning. Were you given the authority to kill them all and end their torture, would you not do so? Maharaj, I would leave it to them to decide. Questioner. But if their destiny is to suffer, how can you interfere with destiny? Maharaj, their destiny is what happens. There is no thwarting of destiny. You mean to say everybody's life is totally determined at his birth? What a strange idea. Were it so, the power that determines would see to it that nobody should suffer. Questioner. What about cause and effect?
Was that Maharaj who said that?
Yes.
So what he's saying in other words is, we don't get what we want, and listen carefully, we don't get what we need by some idea of what my needs are. We get the inevitable results of our past actions. From those, we either move forward with inspiration or we react because of our suffering. And it's that oscillation between the two that ultimately drives us towards the infinite. But there's no God who says, I think you need to suffer here and you need to get mercy and grace there. We invoke grace and we invoke suffering by the quality of our minds and the texture of our actions. And going on.
Questioner. What about cause and effect? Maharaj. Each moment contains the whole of the past and creates the whole of the future. Questioner.
Let's stop there. This is really important. Do I need to know the particulars of what's causing my current karmic predicament? Do I need to have a past life regression to know what I did or did not do in another life? Do I need to go exploring all the dimensions of my family of origin? In the end, no. Because the whole situation manifests in its fullness in our current mental texture. I have everything I need to know right here, right now. Which is, I'm attached here, I'm identified there, I'm reactive at such and such. That's all the material I need. Now, the future is all determined by how I respond to what is presented. Do I react with redress or revenge? Do I endeavor to repeat events because they're pleasure giving? Then the karma chakra continues to roll. If, on the other hand, I practice titiksha, which is mature forbearance, this is not dumb endurance. The Master Jesus said, return good for evil. Someone smacks you across the face, turn the other cheek. It is illogical, but at the deepest level, very practical, because it breaks these chains of cause. Again, in the 12-step tradition, we get a slogan, if you want self-esteem, begin to do esteemable actions. For those of us who are yogis, it makes perfect sense. Clean up your karma. If you lie, cheat, and steal, don't complain. If you're kind, if you're truthful, if you're generous, if you're forgiving, if you're tolerant, if you seek to serve in your life, it will probably work a whole lot smoother. And if you're a yogi, you see why. Any thoughts on this? Going on.
Questioner. But past and future exist? Maharaj. In the mind only. Time is in the mind, space is in the mind. The law of cause and effect is also a way of thinking. In reality, all is here and now, and all is one. Multiplicity and diversity are in the mind only. Questioner. Still, you are in favor of relieving suffering, even through destruction of the incurably diseased body. Maharaj. Again, you look from the outside while I look from within. I do not see a sufferer, I am the sufferer. I know him from within and do what is right spontaneously and effortlessly. I follow no rules, nor do I lay down rules. I flow with life, faithfully and irresistibly. Questioner. You seem to be a very practical man in full control of your immediate surroundings. Maharaj. What else do you expect to be me? What else do you expect me to be? A misfit? Questioner. Yet you cannot help another much. Maharaj. Surely I can help. You too can help. Everybody can help. But the suffering is all the time recreated. Man alone can destroy in himself the roots of pain. Others can only help with the pain, but not with its cause, which is the abysmal stupidity of mankind.
Oh, yes. The root cause of all of our suffering is avidya, ignorance. Ignorance of what's real. And the guru is not capable of enlightening us. Swamiji used to say the guru is a temporary psychological device. Other places call the guru a midwife. Midwife doesn't birth the baby, the mama does. Or a gardener. The guru may do a little bit of pruning. No gardener makes the seedling grow. Going on.
Questioner. Will this stupidity ever come to an end? Maharaj. In man, of course, at any moment. In humanity, as we know it, after very many years. In creation, never, for creation itself is rooted in ignorance. Matter itself is ignorance. Not to know and not to know that one does not know is the cause of endless suffering.
So, where is the locus of Maya? Maya is the inherent power of the infinite. It is because of Maya Shakti that the universe appears, wherein all the sentient beings do not know, and they do not know that they do not know. Going on.
Questioner. We are told of the great avatars, the saviors of the world. Maharaj. Did they save? They have come and gone, and the world plods on. Of course, they did a lot and opened new dimensions in the human mind. But to talk of saving the world is an exaggeration. Questioner. Is there no salvation for the world? Maharaj. Which world do you want to save? The world of your own projection? Save it yourself. My world? Show me my world and I shall deal with it. I am not aware of any world separate from myself, which I am free to save or not to save. What business have you with saving the world when all the world needs is to be saved from you? Get out of the picture and see whether there is anything left to save. Questioner. You seem to stress the point that without you, your world would not have existed, and therefore the only thing you can do for it is to wind up the show. This is not a way out. Even if the world were of my own creation, this knowledge does not save it, it only explains it. The question remains, why did I create such a wretched world, and what can I do to change it? You seem to say, forget it all and admire your own glory. Surely you don't mean it. The description of a disease and its causes does not cure it. What we need is the right medicine. Maharaj, the description and causation are the remedy for a disease caused by obtuseness and stupidity. Just like a deficiency disease is cured through the supply of the missing factor, so are the diseases of living cured by a good dose of intelligent detachment, viveka vairagya. Questioner, you cannot save the world by preaching counsels of perfection. People are as they are. Must they suffer? Maharaj, as long as they are as they are, there is no escape from suffering. Remove the sense of separateness, and there will be no conflict. Questioner, a
Let's stop there. In our current political environment, most people on all sides tend to focus on the changing of systems. Yoga doesn't say that the problem is capitalism versus socialism versus communism or dictatorships versus democracies. If these various systems are wielded by people in ignorance, spiritual ignorance, there will be suffering. If, on the other hand, our efforts are put into freeing people, teaching people spiritual value, then there's a hope of making things different. So, in the Hindu tradition, we have the notions of the various yugas. Right now, they all seem to think we're in what they call the Kali Yuga, which is the darkest, the Iron Age, the longest, and where there's so much suffering. And then there's a second age and a third age, and then finally into the Satyuga, where everybody is essentially realized. And then it starts all over again. But there's no end to the cycles. So if we look at our lifetimes and the rising and the falling of various systems, what makes a difference is when people of character endeavor to do their best for the most. And that's about all we could do. Now, whether the frameworks change, in the end, it's the hearts and minds of people which need to be changed. Then the systems will pretty much start to take care of themselves. Going on.
Questioner, A message in print is paper and ink only. It is the text that matters. By analyzing the world into elements and qualities, we miss what is most important, its meaning. Your reduction of everything to a dream disregards the difference between the dream of an insect and the dream of a poet. All is a dream, granted, but not all are equal. Maharaj, the dreams are not equal, but the dreamer is one. I am the insect, I am the poet, in dream. But in reality, I am neither. I am beyond all dreams. I am the light in which all dreams appear and disappear. I am both inside and outside the dream. Just as a man having a headache knows the ache and also knows that he is not the ache, so do I know the dream, myself dreaming and myself not dreaming, all at the same time. I am what I am before, during, and after the dream, but what I see in the dream I am not. Questioner, it is all a matter of imagination. One imagines that one is dreaming, another imagines that he is not dreaming. Are not both the same? Maharaj, the same and not the same. Not dreaming, as an interval between two dreams, is of course a part of dreaming. Not dreaming as a steady hold on and timeless abidance in reality has nothing to do with dreaming. In that sense, I never dream, nor ever shall. Questioner, if both dream and escape from dream are imaginings, what is the way out? Maharaj, there is no need of a way out. Don't you see that a way out is also a part of the dream? All you have to do is to see the dream as a dream. Questioner, if I start the practice of dismissing everything as a dream, where will it lead me? Maharaj, wherever it leads you, it will be a dream. The very idea of going beyond the dream is illusory. Why go anywhere? Just realize that you are dreaming a dream you call the world, and stop looking for ways out. The dream is not your problem. Your problem is that you like one part of your dream and not another. Love all or none of it, and stop complaining. When you have seen the dream as a dream, you have done all that needs to be done. Questioner, is dreaming caused by thinking? Maharaj, everything is a play of ideas. In the state free from ideation, nirvikalp samadhi, nothing is perceived. The root idea is, I am. It shatters the state of pure consciousness and is followed by the innumerable sensations and perceptions, feelings and ideas, which in their totality constitute God and his world. The I am remains as the witness, but it is by the will of God that everything happens. Questioner, why not my will? Maharaj, again you have split yourself into God and witness. Both are one.
Is that the end of the chapter?
That's the end of the chapter.
I think that's a perfect place to stop. Any thoughts or questions on this one? All right. Well, thank you, Aditi. Thank you all. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Jim.
Hari Om.